Hi guys, this is Luke, and this video is a re-upload of the fourth part in the Django with JavaScript tutorial series. It's an optimized version with images because in the next part we will apply some simple filters to those images just like on Instagram. So we will bring in openCV to create a pretty cool project, but for now let's take a look at what we are going to build in this part. So let me select a thumbnail to the progress bar tutorial that is available here on YouTube on the channel, and then we need to provide a name. So I'm going to put in progress bar, and the description will be progress bar YouTube tutorial. Let's press send, and here is successfully saved progress bar, and after 3 seconds it's gone and the form has been resetted. So without further ado, let's get started. So as mentioned before, this is a re-upload of part 4. This is an optimized version that also consists of images so that we can later use it with openCV to apply simple filters like on Instagram. Till this day, we've published 11 parts in the Django JavaScript tutorial series. The entire playlist is in the description, but if you would like to improve the user experience of the forms even more, I would recommend after this video to watch how to apply progress bar and how to crop images. But now let's take a look at what have I done so far. So I started a brand new project called FormsProj, and I'm currently in the settings py file of this directory. And if we scroll down, we will notice that the installed apps list has been extended by photos. So this is an application that we've created for this project purposes, and we'll jump to it very soon. And then if we scroll down again, in the templates, in the dears position, we told Django where to look for additional templates. So according to those settings, I've created templates directory, and over here we will keep our base HTML. And then we have also some settings for the static and media files, which we will use in this project as well. So jumping into URLs, this is the URLs py file in the main directory. Here we've imported our one and only view, which doesn't consist of any logic just yet. We will see it very soon. It's located in the Photos application, of course, and below we've included the static and media files in the URL patterns. So now we can see this photo add view, which is in the Photos application as mentioned before. So over here we have a basic function view, photo add view with an empty context dictionary that returns render request with photos main HTML. So inside the Photos application, we have a templates directory. Inside we have a photos folder, and here's our main HTML. So this is this directory, photos main HTML, and here we are passing to this template the context dictionary. And then we have our main.js, and we'll take a look at it in just a second. But first, let's go to base HTML. Over here, we have a HTML template that consists of our custom.js, and here we are linking up our main.js. So if we go to the settings py file, over here we have static files dears, and according to those settings, I've created a static folder and placed over there the main.js. Okay, so and this is for the custom.js. Then we have jQuery, Bootstrap CSS, and also required meta tags. And then we have the title, which is AJAX forms. And then we have div class container with margin top 3. So these are the Bootstrap classes. And inside we have a block content for template inheritance purposes. So now if we go to main.js, we have only hello world, and in our main HTML, we have here hello world as well. So the end result is that we see hello world over here in the browser, and we see hello world also here in the console. All right, guys, so right now we can jump into models py file, create our model, and then based off this model, we will create a form. So let's create a class photo, which inherits from models.model, and we will have 4 fields. Let's see. First of all, I'm going to say name is going to be the first field, and this is going to be a models char field with the max length of, let's say, 100. And the other one is going to be the description. So I'm going to place over here a models text field. And we will also have an image, and this is going to be a models image field with the upload to images. And did I create a media folder? I created a media folder as well. So if we go back to the settings py file, here is our media root base dear media, and this is the place where we are going to keep our media file, our images. However, in the media directory, we will have another one that is going to be images. Okay, and let's also add a created. And this is going to be models date time field with auto now add set to true. And let's return string representation, return str self name. All right, so now we have created our photo class, and let's create another file in the photos directory, which is going to be forms py. And we will begin from the import. So from Django import forms, and from .models we want to import our photo class. And over here, let's define a class which it will be named photo form, and this will inherit from forms.model form. And with class meta, we are going to indicate that the model is going to be the photo, and the fields are going to be let's put the image first, then we'll put the name and the description. All right, so now I'm going to save this, and I'm going to jump back to views. Over here, I'm going to import this form. So from .forms, we want to import photo form, and here let's put form is equal to photo form, and this will take an request post or none, and request files or none. All right, and now we are not done, of course, with this view, but right now what we can do is to pass this form to the template. Okay, so right now I'm going to save this and focus on the main HTML. So on the HTML part, let's jump to main HTML. Let's delete the hello world. And then over here, we are going to need a couple of things. So I'm going to begin with a div class of, let's add a margin top 3 again. And then inside, let's put a div class or div ID, and let's set it to alert box. So this is the place where we are going to display the alerts. So it can be either a confirmation that the form has been sent successfully, or some kind of a notification that something went wrong. And then below we will have a preview box. So I'm going to call it maybe image box. So here we are going to see what image we are willing to upload. And then we will place our form, and this is going to be the method. Actually, we don't need this. We just need to focus on the ID, because the rest we will set with AJAX. So I'm going to put in form as the ID. And then I'm going to close off the form. And over here, what we need to do is to put in the csrf token, and also we need to put the form itself. So let's put form as p, and let's save it, and let's take a look at the results. So the form isn't looking that great, and in order to change this, we are going to install Django Crispy Forms. It will take only a second. So I'm going to quit the server from running, pip install Django Crispy Forms, and by the way, we didn't do Python manage py make migrations and Python manage py migrate. Okay, so let's do this very quickly, and Python manage py run server again. Okay, and as the next step, we need to add Crispy Forms to the installed apps list. So in the settings py, let's jump into installed apps. Let's add Crispy Forms. Let me copy this again. Sorry about that. Crispy Forms. All right. And we finally need to provide the Crispy template pack. So I'm going to copy this as well. Put it maybe somewhere over here. Maybe over here. Crispy, and change uniform to Bootstrap 4. All right, so I'm going to save this, and then we need to go back to our main HTML and load Crispy Forms tags, and then over here, instead of form as paragraph, we are going to put in the Crispy filter. Going to save this, hit refresh, and there it is. So this is looking pretty nice. Okay, so we can proceed. Let's also add a submit button in the forms section. So I'm going to put in button type submit, and class is equal to btn primary, and so it's going to be a blue button, and here I'm just going to put in sent and close off the button. All right, so let's save this again, refresh, and there it is. Okay, so right now we can actually focus on the JavaScript part. We need to grab all these elements necessary for completing our project. So let's jump directly into main.js. And I'm going to get rid of this hello world and begin by grabbing the alert box. So let's put an alert box, and this is going to be document get element by ID alert box, and then we'll have the image box. So this is going to be emg box, and document get element by ID and emg box. And we also need to have the form, so I'm going to create another variable called form, and this is going to be document get element by ID and form, form actually, because this is the ID. And what else? Well, we'll need to have the inputs. So in order to do that, I'm going to first of all console log the form. Let's see, what do we have over here? And it seems we don't have anything. Let me do it one more time. Command Shift R. Okay. Here is our form. And if we take a look inside, here is our input type hidden with the csrf middleware token. And then we have some divs with some IDs. And if we take a look inside, we have inputs. Okay, so here we have input type file, name image, and here is our ID. So for the image, for this particular field, we have an ID image. And then if we go inside this one, we open up, we have input type text, and here is ID name. So the convention is the ID dash and then the name of the field. So this is ID image, ID name, and ID description. So knowing that, let's get all of those inputs. So this is going to be const name, and this is going to be document get element by ID, and we want to grab it by the ID name. Then we will have const description, and this is going to be document get element by ID, and here we will have ID description, and over here let's put in const image, and this is going to be, of course, document get element by ID, and then ID image. All right, and let's also grab the csrf token. So I'll put in const csrf, and we will grab it not by the ID but document get elements by name, and here we need to pass in csrf middleware token, and let's console log csrf. Let's save this, hit refresh, and here we have a node list. So if we scroll all the way down, here is the value with the token. So we need to keep in mind this when we are going to add the CSRF to the form data. So I'm going ahead of myself. We will do this very soon. Okay, so right now, if we have all the necessary elements, actually we can also create a const for the URL. The URL is going to be blank because it's going to be the same path. So right now, what we can do is to display the image. So we will show in the image box the image that we want to upload. And we can do it by writing image, add event listener, and we can put in change. So on the change event, we are going to execute something. And what we want to do is to create a new variable called emg data, and this is going to be, we need to grab the image itself. So image files 0 is the way to do that, and then we need to create a blob object for preview purposes. So const, let's call this URL, and this is going to be URL, and then create object URL, and we need to pass in this image data. And right now we can console log our URL. Let me refresh and let's test this out. So I'm going to select an image, and here I have a progress bar thumbnail, and let's open it up, and here is our blob object. Okay, so right now what we want to do is to actually refer to this image box that we have over here and to the inner HTML. So we can write down image box inner HTML, and we want to display this image. So I'm going to use backticks for this, emg src, and over here let's use the $sign inside the quotation marks, pass in the URL, and then let's also add a width of 100%. And then let's close it off, and let's try this out. So I refresh the page, I'll select the progress bar thumbnail again, and there it is. So this is the preview. And here we can see the image that we are trying to upload. So right now let's focus on actually saving the data. So we will need to refer to the form and add another event listener. This time we are going to listen for the submit, and if this is the case, we are going to do some stuff. So first of all, let's do event prevent default, so we don't want the page to be reloaded. And then we can create a variable called fd that stands for form data, and here let's put in new form data. And to this form data we want to append some things. So first of all, let's take care of the csrf. So over here we need to put in the csrf middleware token, and we need to put in the value, so csrf and then 0.value. And then let's take care of the name. So we have form data append name, and here we need to refer to the name value. So let's put in name.value. And this works like this, that we simply need to put all the necessary inputs of our request. So we are expecting the csrf middleware token, we are expecting the name, we are expecting the description, we are also expecting an image. And to those fields, we need to assign some values. And this is exactly what we are doing. We have csrf middleware token with a value, we have a name with a value, and we also need to put in form data append description, and let's put in description value. And we also need to have one more form data append image, and this is going to be image files 0. Okay, so right now we have all the necessary fields added to the form data, and we can use AJAX. So let's put in AJAX, and first of all we need to specify the type, so it's going to be post. As the next step, let's add a URL, and we can assign the URL from over here. Then we will have to specify the enc type, so this is going to be the multipart form data. We are sending images, so we need to have this enc type multipart form data. And then we will put the data itself, so this is going to be the form data that we created over here. And we will have what will happen on success. So for now, let's put in just a function which takes in a response, and here we will simply console log the response. And if something goes wrong, we'll have an error, and this is going to be a function that takes in an error and it console logs this error. Okay, and then we'll also need to set the cache to false, the content type to false as well, and process data to false. Okay, so right now we can actually go ahead and save this, and we can jump back to our views UI. So over here, we can do a check if request is AJAX, and if this is the case, we can do another check if form is valid, and if this is the case, we are just going to put in form save. But then as a response, we want to return a JSON response. So let's import it from Django HTTP. We want to import JSON response, and let's also have a data dictionary, which is going to be empty initially. But then if we have request is AJAX and if form is valid, we can add something to it. So for example, we can add a name, and this is going to be data name, and let's put in form cleaned data get, and let's put in the name, and let's also add a status, data status, and let's put here just okay. And then we want to simply return a JSON response and pass in the data. All right, so let's see if this will work. There's one thing missing actually, because we forgot to register the photo in the admin. So let's do it very quickly. From .models, we want to import our photo model, and here let's put in admin site register, and let's put in photo. Okay, so now I'm going to save this. I'm going to jump to the admin, hit refresh, and here we are. So we are going to check if this is working or not. So let me hit refresh. Let me select the file. Let me put in test, and then let's press send. And here we have name test, status okay. So it seems that it's working. Let's hit refresh. Here's our object, and we have test, and here is our image. So perfect. This is working very, very well. And let's continue working on this in the main.js part. So we will have some alerts as a confirmation that everything is okay. So this is the next thing that we are going to do. Below the URL, I'm going to add an arrow function, const handle alerts, and this will take in a type as well as text. So over here, let's refer to the alert box. So we need to put an alert box inner HTML, and we are going to implement some HTML code with the use of backticks. But what we need to do next is to actually go to getbootstrap.com and select some alerts. So I'm just going to grab the one over here. Doesn't really matter which one you select because we need to do some adjustments. So what we need to do is, where we have success, primary, secondary, we need to inject the type. Okay, so let's delete the success, and again I'm using backticks, so this way I can put in a $sign and then put in the type. And over here we are going to delete this text and put the text that we will get from over here to be more precise. So again, $sign and text. All right, so since we have this handle alerts function, we can actually use it. So I'm going to copy it and go all the way down. And first of all, let's implement it over here. So we will have handle alerts over here. And also let's put it to the error section. So to the error section, let's maybe begin from over here because it will be much more easier. As the type, we want to pass in danger, and here as the text, let's place oops, something went wrong. All right, and then over here what we need to do is to pass in as the type success. So we want to have a green alert. Here it will be a red one. And then over here we will have something to do with the response. So let's create another const. Let's call it success text or s-text. And this is going to be, again, with the use of backticks. So I'm going to put in successfully, or is it with 2L or 1L? I'm going to leave it like this. Successfully saved, and then let's put in response. And if we go to our AJAX form, here is our response, and we want to refer to the name. So let's put in response name. Okay, successfully saved response name. And right now we need to pass in this s-text to the handle alerts. So let's save this, let's refresh, and let's also do one more thing to the form. So we need to jump into main HTML, and here I'm going to put in autocomplete, and set it to off. Okay, let's hit refresh, and this way we don't have a history over here with the name field. So I'm going to put in test2 description, and I'm going to select the same image, and here is the preview, and let's press send. And successfully saved test2. And then if we jump to our photos, here is test2. So this is working. Okay, so let's change the URL for the one that doesn't exist. I'm going to put in SSS, something like this. Hit refresh, select a file. So the preview should be working, and it's working. But if I put over here something and press send, then we will have an error over here and a red alert above the image box. So oops, something went wrong. Okay, so this is working. So I'm going to bring back the proper URL, which is a blank URL. Save this. And right now we can focus on resetting the form if everything is correct. And in order to do that, we are going to use a set timeout function. So somewhere over here, let's just put in set timeout. And after, for example, 2 or 3 seconds, we want the form to be resetted. So let's put over here the time let's set to 2 seconds, and then what we want to do is to refer to the, where is it, the alert box, and we will begin by setting the alert box to blank. So alert box inner HTML, and after 2 seconds the alert should disappear. Then let's also set the name value to blank. Let's also set the image value to blank and the description value to be blank as well. So now I'm going to save this and let's see how this works. Okay. Successfully saved, and then it's gone and the form is resetted. However, we forgot about the preview box, so our image box, and let's do this very quickly. img box and inner HTML. Let's also set it to blank. All right, let's save this. Let's try it one more time. Another test. Let's select the file, the image, and let's press send. Successfully saved another, successfully saved AAA. So maybe let's do 3 seconds. Let's try it one more time. A test. Let's press send. Successfully saved AAA test, and right now the entire form is reset. And of course, the objects are stored in the database. So yeah, I think we can finish off over here. We will continue from this moment in the next part where we will apply filters to those images. So we will modify them with some simple filters, and maybe not so sophisticated like on Instagrams, but we will use some basic operations in order to modify our images. So hope to see you in part 2. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel. Have a great day and bye-bye.